The rendition of halos in Harmonia Rosales' The Crucifixion and the Harvest asserts the divinity of the African continent and its diaspora. Rosales' The Crucifixion is a reimagining of a Renaissance crucifixion scene, with Black figures as its focus as Jesus Christ and Mary. By reappropriating colonial images of sanctity and holiness and placing within them Black characters, Rosales asserts the place of Blackness in what is divine. In addition, she incorporates the Adinkra symbol, Adinkrahini, into the halo of Christ and Mary, symbolizing authority and leadership. Adinkra cloths were traditionally worn by royalty and typically worn at funerals to pay respects and as a final farewell, and were widely understood by people even if they could not read or write. Christ and Mary are a couple of the most prominent figures in Christianity, and visually, their proximity to God and the divine is denoted by the halo. By incorporating the Adinkrahini into the halo, Rosales makes distinct her rendition of Jesus and Mary as royal, only reserved for those with knowledge of the Adinkrahini and its significance. Through this, she labels them both as African royalty, locating their sanctity and holiness on the African continent. Furthermore, the blue dress and white veil of the woman figure in the bottom left is reminiscent of Yemaya, a Yoruba water spirit known as the Ocean Mother Goddess. By incorporating a Yoruba deity into this classical Christian image, this piece works to subvert Christianity itself. Rosales' The Harvest depicts a Black woman with 3 children in her arms and 2 at her feet, along with a brown skull and a snake at the bottom of the frame. The form of the painting is reminiscent of Renaissance Madonnas, depictions of Mary, usually with her child Jesus. Around the woman's head is a circle with several phrases on it, Al-Kebulon and Desasaya being 2 of them. The position of the circle itself behind the woman's head serves as her halo, working to distinguish her as a holy figure in the painting. The phrases on her halo identify the woman figure as Asasaya, the female spirit of the earth in the indigenous religion of the Akan people. Al-Kebulon is the ancient name for Africa, translating to Mother of Mankind and Garden of Eden. Imagery of the Garden of Eden is further evoked by the snake at the bottom of the frame, and her motherly nature is denoted by the children that she is holding all around her. The Harvest uses the typical structure of a Madonna piece of the Renaissance period to present Mary as Asasaya and relocates the mother to Al-Kebulon. By doing so, this piece works to subvert and manipulate Renaissance Christian imagery to challenge the assumptions of religious sanctity and where that is defined. Together, the woman in the painting is labeled twice, once as Asasaya, the spirit of the earth, and as Al-Kebulon, Africa herself, both marked wholly by the halo and named as the mother by this reinterpretation of a Madonna. By representing these 2 in one womanly figure, Rosales asserts the divine nature of the African continent. The way she holds the children presumably marks them all as her own, whereas a Madonna has at most 1 child representing Jesus Christ. This reinterpretation of a Madonna with multiple children surrounding her asserts that the children of Al-Kebulon, representing the African diaspora, are like the single child of Mary, divine. When we put these pieces in conversation with each other, we have the Harvest, which is a reinterpretation of a Madonna with multiple children representing the life-giving Asasaya and Al-Kebulon, and the Crucifixion, which is a reinterpretation of the crucifixion scene where Jesus is killed, with a representation of Mary as Yemaya in the bottom of the frame. In both the pieces, a representation of death can be found in the bottom of the scenes depicted, the skull at the feet of the woman figure, and the man at Christ's feet nailing him to the cross. These symbols of death are juxtaposed with symbols of life, the children that surround Asasaya and Yemaya, who is also celebrated as the giver of life in Yoruba culture. The intertwined representation of life and death highlight the present threat to the African diaspora and their continued resilience. Africa and the African diaspora is posed as divine through the retelling of Christ's birth and death, with the life of Mary represented as African deities and Christ represented as the African diaspora itself.